Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. Today we have an NYCC special, and we have my boy here,
Petey.
Prime Minister himself. You know, we've just had a long day of going to the con, and of course, you know, this is one of the top things for us to do every single year, and we do this all the time. So, Petey, what was your thought of the con so far?
Well, we have to also factor in that there was a strike as far as writers and for the talent. So I think Ewan McGregor was there, and then from The Walking Dead, the Daryl Dixon, the actor was there for that. So, they get special sort of things to release them so they could to do the show. So there wasn't that much like a TV connected thing as you see most of the time. But there's still people out there. It wasn't as jam packed, but it was still packed. So
yeah, and if people come in later, you know, in the morning it's a little less, but there was a ton of people coming afterwards, you know. And of course, as always, there's going to be tons of cosplayers, and we will probably be showing you some of that too. But what I really want to talk to you is about some of the exclusives that we got here at the con. Can you show me some of the things that you got?
Well, the only exclusive I have here is the director's cut of the Teenage Ninja Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sorry, why am I mixing them up? This is the first time.
The last
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's how you do the song first. So you do the song, and then this is the director's cut of The Last Ronin, right? And we also have just the covers, all the exclusive covers that were done for.
Yeah, and I mean, you gotta take a look at some of the covers. They are beautifully done. I mean, this is like a classic right here. You know, you saw this one. I mean, I saw it and I was like, oh, it has to be done. It's like fantastic. And again, NYCC exclusive at the IDW booth. You need to go there. I mean, there's a lot of exclusives going on. Marvel has some stuff, but you know, Marvel lines are massive, right?
Well, this also isn't a movie tie-in, even though there's a new Turtles movie that's out. It wasn't necessarily a tie-in, but it was a big buzz, which led to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Lost Years, dealing with this period where we got to the Last Ronin. So ultimately, we had, you know, that sort of stuff going on. They also had the art of the movie there too, so that's an exclusive you can get. I mean, there's a lot of, but you know, what else? Sorry.
No, continue. Don't
No, I was just going to go over into the next stage, which would be in that sort of areas where the Artist Alley was. So there's a lot of.
So yeah, sorry, I do want to get because I wanted to say the Ronin. I wouldn't talk to you about this. Do you think they're going to have a movie about this eventually? I mean, if the success of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shows up, and they said there's going to be more films, do you think they're ever going to do the Ronin?
I wish they would, but at the same time, with both animated showings not being that as big, but I think both animated movies that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had were great. So I like the first one. I definitely like this one. We had some live action ones that I think were okay. Yeah, they're fun movies to watch. So I think the Turtles haven't lost their shine, but it's not as big as it was. But that's saying, if you're a fan of the Turtles, this goes back to, like, they might need to do something that's closer to this to get that sort of on screen, and maybe that'll reinvigorate it to a bigger audience, and then get back to the kids doing something for them too.
Now you were saying something about Artist Alley. What did you see? What did you?
I was just saying, in that same area we had the artists were out, and we got to see Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder. Greg Capullo was there, but they were there. Greg Capullo was there early, and then Scott Snyder came there later. Chris Claremont's always there. Jim Lee had his own booth, which you could still, if you're going to the con, make sure you go online and you get a reservation so you can get to see him, get him to sign your books and such.
Don't forget Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb was there too.
Jeff Loeb was there, yes, yes.
I mean, Long Halloween, Hush.
Yeah.
You know.
He's there signing.
When in Rome, I mean, he's there. He didn't have a lot of stuff on his desk. So if you have stuff to sign, he's there to sign it.
Rob Liefeld was there. He's always there.
Surprising. I mean, not surprising, but I was surprised about the line.
There's always a line for Rob.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always a line, but sometimes it's out the door, sometimes it's not. But it was interesting. I saw Timac. Timac was there.
He's always there.
Yeah, Timac is always there. You know, always cool with the fans, taking pictures, showing his stuff out. So, what was that? The Last Dragon?
Yeah, of course, The Last Dragon.
You know,
yeah.
Sorry, but I digress. Back on Artist Alley, who else did we see? We saw. I mean, there's so many artists.
Walter Simonson and Louise Simonson were there. There's many from talent that aren't known as well as the comic world, but they also have a lot of comic pros there too. So,
Oh yeah.
where you can buy different people to do their art, sort of art pieces and different sort of memorabilia that's from the merchandise from these different artists. Besides, the comic artists have usually sketchbooks, and they also have books that they've done which they sign. But they also had, which I think the comic book hero was with us, and he got some of those mystery boxes for different characters, right? Like an artist, Frank Cho, and he got one for the Invisible Artist. So that's something that you can go out there. There's a lot of mystery boxes out there
Yes,
at Marvel, and some are they're priced very differently depending on the artist and what they're trying to. Like you're trying to get sketches and you're going for the show, that's going to cost you a little bit more.
Yes, it would. But it's interesting. You mean it may have exactly what you want, it may not. So that's the thing. But there's a good chance of you getting some exclusive stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Hey, while there, we also saw, I think DMX is supposed to be there, I think tomorrow.
Who? DMC.
DMC, I know, DMX. So if you want to see that, I know he's been doing his whole comic thing going through, so that's good. I mean, doggone it, when you look at it, there's so many people that were there, it's crowded. But what I wanted to point out is that you can get the artist who colored the comic, who inked the comic, who wrote the comic, all signatures, and they're all around there. And some of them are set up in a particular way depending on the group that they're with, So it's really good. So if you really want to get all these signatures that you find them important, or you find these artists, like I've always said, support the artist, because if you really enjoy their stuff, you need to come out and support it, because then who's going to do it? We have these people who, from singers, from artists, from actors. You got to support those if you want them to show these to come out with these type of things. People complain about, oh, we don't really want to do this, but this is what we want to do. We want to enjoy the works, the fruits of their labor. So yeah, I say go out if you can.
Well, this one year, since it was less happening, we spent a lot more time on the floor, and I usually spend my time on the floor trying to find graphic novels and these magazine side books. So I got I don't know if it's showing up with the shine on it, but I get the late great Joe Kubert's tour. This is his prehistoric story that he did for Marvel when Image hit. When Image Comics hit, Marvel did their own, create their own thing, and they got the legendary Joe Kubert to put out something that he did when he was young. And this is like, how was it? His Silver Age when he started doing comic books, like the early Hawkmans. And like being a titan that he is, he came back in the 90s and was doing his own own stuff. And he did a couple other things for Marvel too. So it was interesting to see someone who wasn't necessarily a Marvel artist do tour, and I think it's Abraham Stone, but at the same time, he did in the magazine format. They took the Abraham Stone and turned it into the comic book format, which led there to be, if you look at the gutters, I don't even know if this book has gutters. Okay, so if you look at the white areas, which is called the gutters of the comic book, they took that and put it into, but I don't have it here, so I'm iffy on getting that graphic novel. So they took that page, and you see top and bottom, a lot of white area.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
But this is, this Heavy Hitters, they did that sort of thing. And yeah, so like you see in this comic book format, you don't see any large gutters. You can see it's kind of problematic when you do that for taking magazine format and putting it into comic book.
Right. And Marvel's imprint that they used, it wasn't Marvel. What was it?
It was part of Epic, and they call it, their line was the Heavy Hitters. But they were trying to get to what, instead of doing all superheroes, they were kind of giving you alternative, which is what most of the independent books do, is alternative stuff like the Turtles. So.
Hey, while I was there, I picked up a couple of things, and one of the hottest shows on TV right now, Disney, is what? Ahsoka. I got this.
But that's not actually Ahsoka comic. What a comic is it?
It's actually Mandalorian, but still, that's one of the hottest shows. But this is one of the covers for it. I had to get it. I said, man, this is off the chain. So there's still some available. These are NYCC exclusives. I suggest if you're a big fan of Star Wars and stuff, grab it. There's not going to be many around. Also, talking about turtles. It must have been a turtle day today. I don't know what's going on because we did a lot of turtle stuff. This was somewhere completely different. We found this here. These are the turtles playing basketball. I think it was issue 143. So it's I took a look at it. I was like, yo, I got to pick this sucker up. It is like,
Yeah, it's a good cover.
them having a very good time. We also went upstairs and we went to Viz. They gave a bunch of stuff. They have a manga sampler. They want to get people involved in different things in manga because manga is huge right now. A lot of people are going to it all the time. We saw Dragon Ball Z. I mean, they got these like monster images.
That sort of
Bandai's there. Ultraman was there. Gundam was there. So if you're fans of those things, there. Funko, I got to tell you, the Funko line goes on forever. Where they had NYCC exclusive Funko. So if you have a chance, you better get out there early and plan to stand online. But the bags are hot. When you spend on the Funkos, the bags are hot. What was your impression of, just generally, while walking around?
It's usual what happens at the con. I think the most in-depth costume I've seen so far was the Groot costume. Someone had a Groot costume out there.
Oh yeah, the Groot costume was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah. But otherwise, it's like how the cons usually go, and there were some exclusive showings, but we mainly stayed on the floor. One thing we did get to see was The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. They showed the finale since there was, I guess it was a hold up on it because of the strike, but they showed that final episode. Then they had a decent talk. As of right now, if it's on it at a different time than we've shot this, but they're talking about a Bloomfest, talking about Bloomhouse Films. They're going to be talking about what they're going to do.
Megan and some other stuff. And getting back to Daryl Dixon, the show, it is him being in France, right?
Yes.
Dealing with the whole zombie situation there. I mean, at the end of that episode, there's a huge spoiler. I don't know if we can say anything.
Huge surprise. We can't say it. So.
But I mean, probably you can read about it.
They wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us put our cameras on any of that stuff. So, they also talk about a new Orphan Black Echo. That's going to have Christine Ritter. There was a couple other shows.
Christine Ritter, what show was she in?
She was on Jessica Jones. She was on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
What?
And Gravity. That was on Showtime.
Yeah. So
those three shows.
But that Orphan Black looked very different from what I expected. But I mean, it was a teaser shot, so it's not. We don't know what's really going to go on.
It's kind of taking it from the angle of almost like what's that thing? What's that show with the woman with that corporation? Remember the corporation that had all the people going crazy?
Well, why don't we tell them what Orphan Black is about first?
Orphan Black is about clones. So we have a new series about clones, and we just see the first one. They say that she's born, but then we see another body. So just like Orphan Black, the TV show, there were multiple versions. Now, we haven't necessarily seen Christine Ritter do that. I think in the original series, it kind of went on a little too long. They kept having her come up with new wacky, zany characters, which is what Hollywood does with like multiple personalities, but they were doing it with clones.
With the same person.
Yeah, so it was like, they had a male version. It was like, but that's like twins. When you get into that territory, how the person changes is like, okay, it gets into the fraternal twin area when you start making that. So like a clone should be, idea clone being all similar, but they kind of pushed it, which was fun. So it was fun early, but then it kind of went
left a little bit sometimes.
But
the actress,
the
Meslany, I think her name is.
Tatiana.
She was fantastic. In fact, it felt a little disappointing in the She-Hulk. That's where she was the main character. She was She-Hulk herself. But in Orphan Black, I mean, just believing her initially as who she was, and then the various different clones was a fantastic job. And I think it was great Marvel getting her. But I'm not the She-Hulk role. I'm not blaming her for that. I think it could have been pulled off a little differently. It was a different taste than what I expected. But hey, sorry.
No, so I'm just cutting to. Since we're going into the She-Hulk, the hard part with the She-Hulk is that Jen's personality, Jen's connection to the Hulk was very different from what was in the show. So it's kind of hard to look at it and be like, oh, this makes sense, because she's kind of, her personality was very different. But at the same time, the dynamic between Bruce and Jen was, Bruce is this tragic character, and she is this this lawyer that was kind of prosecutor, this, that, and the other. In every scene they had when she was just Jen before she was a She-Hulk, then later scenes when Bruce Banner had the mind the Hulk had the mind of Bruce Banner, but he was struggling with having that edge the Hulk had, and she helped him where she kind of, let this half a robot take her out, and then he got to the level of anger to where he could, exploit all of the Hulk's strengths. And then, he saw she was still okay, and then it was like, so, and then when they were split, when the Hulk was split from Jen, they had this moment. So when you've seen, I think in the She-Hulk comic after Byrne left, you have the Hulk and She-Hulk fighting, you have her, and Jeff Johns did it, and it's like, it doesn't ring true. It's just like an obligatory fight, which is not needed. So they kind of did it with the first episode. So the comic was fun, and they tried to do that, but they just did it their own way, which I don't think worked as well. And they did the zaniness that was in the comic their own way. So, but they had a talented actress. She was also in, I think, Perry Mason, which she had the oddest character in that show. So if you see her in that, that's the one I would think. If you want to see something else that she's done, that's the thing that would definitely sell you on her if you haven't seen Orphan Black already. You want to see something new.
I mean, and so, like I said, there's a bunch of different people there and for you to go. For me, probably one of the stunning things I saw coming out this time was that there were whole groups of people. Not before, cosplay was always you take a picture and that's it. Now the whole thing now is that you actually see people doing the fighting, like they're superheroes and the graphics behind. They have whole areas dedicated to do this, and you're like, oh my goodness. You see they're pretending to have the power. The guy is doing it on a video. He's literally doing a video of them fighting at the same time. He's doing the powers and stuff. I'm like, wow, that is where have we come? You know what I'm trying to say? But like you said, this year the big companies are not, I mean, you have Amazon is always there. They're going to have some more stuff like Amazon Prime stuff about some of their shows. You also had, AMC had their stuff today.
Marvel had a table. Marvel had a table, like a big. They had their same big display.
Yeah.
I also would say that Joe Quesada had something on the floor, not in comics. He had a lot of his prints on the floor, so I didn't get the number of it, but I might check it out. But it's also hard when a lot of these greats that you like that were selling a lot, they move away from drawing regularly, where they just like, hey, I'm sitting around doing sketches. Whereas, the gene to draw comics forever that like Jack Kirby had and passed it on to a few comic artists that did it till they passed, it's kind of dying out. Well, not all, I'm saying doing comics, sitting around and doing, like Arthur Adams does covers now and prints, sitting around and drawing small panels and putting story in there, and hopefully you follow it. So a lot of times, which I mean, I think there's a burnout. So you see people like Mike Zeck who did what's the name, they kind of stopped doing it. So it's kind of hard to do, but it's always good to interact with the pros and that sort of thing. But when you're at the top of the heap, I always say keep drawing. But what can you do?
Yeah.
Like Frank Miller at the same time. He's come a long way from this, and I think for him, this would be, for fans, this might be some of the best stuff. For him, it might be rudimentary to some of his 90s work and 2000 work, but at the same time, he just did another comic book, and even in his ailing health and whatnot, he just did another comic book. So that's the kind of thing I want to see, is these guys who are these pros that were, Byrne doing stuff online, Perez doing stuff close up to before he got really sick, until his eyesight was too hard for him to draw and stuff like that. But
and Miller's there to sign these things, so bring it. If you have it, bring it.
Yeah, he has a table there too. Klaus Janson is there if you want to bring your Dark Knights. That's the thing, when you have some of the pros that aren't, they'll sign your things, they'll sign your comic books, and you can either do it for a resale or you can do it for, I just, met my favorite comic artist.
And I know
we never talk about autographs, but the autograph line was crazy out there.
It's always crazy. You got to register ahead, and it's going to cost you a bundle of money. And this goes for all of them, whether it's the stars, like Ewan McGregor and those guys, they're going to definitely up there. You maybe definitely over 100 or whatever, or 200. But the voiceover actors are definitely demanding money, especially some of the more popular ones. I don't know if D. Baker's, there's a bunch of people who are there. I can't tell you off. Just take a look at the what is it? The schedule.
Yeah.
But you know what? They don't even have any more physical schedules anymore. You have to go online. You got to get the app.
You're supposed to have that.
Right. You
Why wouldn't you have that?
But I'm just trying to say, like, it's before you always had the books. No more. You got to look at the app and stuff like that.
So what is this stuff?
That's more stuff from Viz. They're pushing their different shows.
What
you
is
know?
this?
You know, everybody's into terror. The terror tales now. Everybody's trying to do some stuff about terror.
Them a bleach.
Bleach.
Them a bleach out the skin. Them a bleach. Unlike the browning.
You know, so
Oh, we got this one. So yeah, so
Look,
this is some
there's
stuff you can get as you go through the con,
Right.
and you can fill up the bags that they give you. I think we have one of the
Not that ugly yellow bag.
So why would you say something bad about we're promotion of all promotion?
What is that?
Sit up there and scan it. Scan it,
All right,
guys.
you know what?
Scan it.
My apologies, but you know
Bag
what?
full of collectibles. Look what I can do. I take all of these
There's
things.
nothing in them collectible.
And I can put.
The bag.
No, you put the stuff in it like this,
No,
and
that's
you're
not,
like,
I'm not disagreeing.
here
'cause
I
you know what?
go.
You always need something.
and
It's a
then I
perfect
go
fit.
off. Thank
That's
you,
it.
whatnot. Mister, I have to promote everything. I'm gonna trash whatnot. Okay.
I'm
We're
not
in
trashing whatnot.
We got a different type of show here today. That's what's going on. We're very business-like. We got a couple of flows, but at the same time, now we're saying, ugh, what
I
happened?
was saying not
So
expecting.
we're going that route. Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos. I think
It's a December thing, bro.
who's the name? I think Rob Liefeld uses Catwolf as something to denigrate the Captain America of the period while he was doing Image. Here we got more Catwolf. So
Hey, popular.
I was supposed to say something bad about it, but I didn't.
Look, this is what I'm talking about. These are the bags that we're looking to get. This is an
Oh my
old
God.
con bag.
This is a bag you got when you bought something huge, right?
It wasn't that huge, but got
Did
the
they
bag.
give those out free?
Yeah. So I'm saying they're not doing that anymore. And so this is what 80 years of DC. They were giving these things out
Yeah,
a couple of
those-
years back, and so
Somehow I don't have one of those bags anymore. He
somehow.
stole my bag.
what did you just
Oh, maybe
accuse
didn't
me
I
on TV of stealing your bag? Yo, those are fighting words, bro.
Hey.
Brick City or not, it's not gonna rock. So all I'm saying is that it's changed to the degree. Even the lanyards are a little different. You know.
Well, you buy. I usually get mine with the
NYCC.
Yeah, when I get the tickets. And
you order it?
Mars, yeah, Mars he steals them. Oh, did I say he stole
Oh my
again?
gosh,
You can't steal something they give away. So he takes a lot.
dude, what's the matter with you, man?
Well, if
It's
we
not the
hit
case.
it
That's
big,
not the
then
truth.
we'll
That's
do an
not the case.
investigation. The hip hop are the comic book cops out there, like the hip hop cops.
This guy is so full of it, bro. So listen, I think
There.
we covered everything we needed to cover. You know.
Well, that's the other thing. The side note was the comic book hero was saying that people do bandy, lift stuff off and walk, look, run off, that sort of thing. So that's what you could have been doing.
But that's what I told you. That's what I said. I said that people. One of the reasons some of like the big retailers here in New York are not participating because it didn't for them was not as profitable as they'd hoped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? But there are some that are there that are doing a good job, and you want to hang out. We want to say Hank and his team.
Yes,
You know?
Hank. Yep. You're gonna have to say for Bulletproof Comics. You
That's
didn't
right.
say for me. Hank and
Bulletproof
Bulletproof. We see him. We've seen him in all the cons we've gone to.
Yo.
I think we've seen him in Jersey.
Hank
We've
represents no
seen
matter
him
where.
in Boston. We've seen him in New York Comic Con. It is good to see a local Brooklyn comic store retailer still doing this thing.
Yes,
It's always good to see him doing this thing out there.
And he's supporting stuff. So if you go, check him out. Okay. So again, I think that's basically. I think we covered everything.
Yes.
All right. So hey, we say if you can make it, make it. I think unfortunately, I think tickets are sold out for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I think they do have a resale market. If you
The scalpers.
I said resale.
And
legit resale
Sunday,
market.
Sunday you can get there. That's a family day, so you can bring your kids.
All right. So what did I say? Spin a rack.
Out.